So far, we've been focusing in on our HSL controls. When we click on that panel, we see that we have hue, saturation, and luminance. We have different controls for the various colors and tones in our photograph. We can take this a little bit further by navigating to the color panel here. In the color panel, what we can do is we can view all of the colors in our photographs, or we can click on a specific color in order to work on that. For example, with this image, well, one of the things that I notice is I like the tones. The teeth are a little bit yellow. So I can click on the yellow color here. With this selected, what I can then do is I can desaturate. Let me zoom in a little bit closer so we can see how this actually looks. So here we have increased saturation on the teeth, so that obviously doesn't look good. But then I'll go ahead and decrease that saturation. We can see that I've successfully whitened or brightened those teeth. When I work with luminance, you can see I can change my overall luminance of those values as well. One of the things that you'll discover, of course, is that yellows aren't only in the teeth, so it's also affecting some other areas of the photograph. And depending on the color that you select, it's going to, of course, affect different areas of the image, right? Let's go ahead and choose red and see how that works. So when I shift the reds, we can see that I can change the background, but that's also affecting the lip color. So again, we can see that's happening one way or another. So you just want to watch out for that as you are making these different types of adjustments. Another thing that we can do is click a color that we know is really strong in the image, like in this case the makeup color and the garment color, and here we can change that in a uniform way, which sometimes can be pretty interesting. Alright, we'll click on the image to zoom out, and then I'll flip on this toggle switch here. Here's our overall before and then our after. So as you can see, the color panel gives us the ability to work on the hue, saturation, and luminance together. Now I do just have to point out that we could do these same things inside of HSL. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to press Shift Command R on a Mac, Shift Control R on a PC, and that's the shortcut to reset the photograph all the way back to normal. Alright, well if I go to HSL, what I can do here then is start to work on the saturation on the teeth. Click on my target adjustment tool, hover over the yellows, and there I can successfully remove those tones. I could also, let's say, work on the background. I could work on the background by clicking on hue, and then I'll go ahead and click and drag up or click and drag down in order to shift the hue. Although with the target adjustment tool, we're noticing that it's affecting the oranges as well. If I want to just affect the reds, well then all I need to do is click and drag this to the left. It's the same exact adjustment that we saw inside of the color panel. We're just going about doing this a little bit differently. And finally, just to illustrate, let's change the color of the makeup and the garment there. And here we have the image just as we processed it before in the color panel. So as you start to work on these two different panels, HSL and color, just keep in mind that there are two different ways to do similar things. Now, one of the advantages of working on color is it's really focused and there isn't a lot to look at. There isn't some confusion here. At the same time, the disadvantage is we don't have a lot of fine-tuned control. One of the advantages of using HSL is that with this target adjustment tool, as we saw when we hover over the background, it not only changes the reds, but it also changes the oranges. And a lot of times, the way that it affects multiple controls actually helps us out in order to make our images look better. In certain situations, like with this photograph, it's better not to even mess with those oranges. So again, just keep in mind that HSL and color allow us to do similar things in different ways.